understand it unless you happen to have a holiday home up in the north and live in the suburb of Albany. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
John Hayes.
Speaker, that was a particularly measured speech which reminded me of the radio program called Repetition, or was that simply a Scrabble word? We heard quite a lot from that member and his colleagues that was actually quite irrelevant and myopic in its focus. Certainly not as prehistoric as the position of the Green Party that is going to vote against this legislation going to the first reading, because Mr Hague did not have sufficient time between receiving the bill in its written form, and walking here to the House. More nonsense I haven't heard. Mr Speaker, I think it's very important that we lift our eyes to the horizon. This government, led by the aspirational John Key, has stood on and was elected to this Parliament by the people of this country because he has an aspiration of taking this country forward. He wants to lift productivity and he wants to bring our wealth generation up to the same level of the Australians. And this is why this bill modifying our customs and tariff processing is so important, because it is going to allow economic activity to take place at a far greater rate than has been possible under the legislation that we've got now. We are chasing efficiency. All of us have to adopt a New Zealand Inc. approach and drive much harder for more efficient arrangements. And I listened to the comments from my colleague in the Maori Party about Watergate and Hellengate and various painter gates and other gates, but Smartgate is about improving access to the Australian market for people and for goods and services, and the reverse. Australian products coming through here. And if we can improve efficiency there, we can drop the cost of compliance and we can improve efficiency of economic activity. And the better we can deliver to our economic engine, the more we can grow the wealth for all of us. That is why this legislation is important, and that is why I rise to support it. Most of the amendments that relate to border processing and administration will enable New Zealanders to get through and Australians to get through the other countries' borders quickly. And we're going to use new technology. It may mean that we're using capital to replace labour, but we're doing it to improve efficiency, and that is important for every New Zealander. The amendments that are being proposed in the legislation are quite minor, but yes, there will be some systems that will be automated and used in place of customs officers. I think that there's been consistent confusion in the House this afternoon, particularly around questions of biosecurity, because those issues are dealt to by math, not by customs, and it doesn't seem to have been something that's occurred to a majority of the speakers here this afternoon. What we're here to do is to improve arrangements for the travelling public. Mr Speaker, we're going to move to biometric technology. This has been a process that's been coming for the last 9 years. The previous government did nothing to advance this cause, and I congratulate the Minister for moving forward so quickly after only 10 months in office. It is going to allow New Zealand and Australian passport holders to complete customs and immigration arrangements using an automated system instead of chatting to the friendly person at the arrival desk when you reach the other country's border. It's already used widely in Australia, and it could have been here if the previous government had been on its game for the past 9 years, which it clearly wasn't. Mr Speaker, this bill is going to come to a committee that I am on, and I will be looking forward to processing that through that committee by the middle of November. accordingly, because I'll have another crack at this, Chair, I will sit and support this first reading stage of the bill.
Grant Robertson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise to